Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to this talk series on celebrating leaders who care. My name is Shailja Sharma. I'm an IO psychologist at EAP-India. It stands for Employee Assistance Program. We provide services to employees and their families to promote their mental health and well-being. We have a presence pan-India and globally. Today, we have the privilege and the opportunity to have with us Ms. Meena Lokhande. She is the senior consultant in the area of POSH, that is prevention of sexual harassment against women at workplace, with the experience of delivering over 2 lakh training programs to employees and various companies. She has also successfully handled 150 POSH cases. Meena also works as senior consultant in corporate social responsibility and is skilled in market research and business development. Her clientele not only includes NGO, NPOs, but also esteemed organizations ranging from hospitality sector to corporate, hospitals, and educational institutions. A very warm welcome to you, Meena, and thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for making the time for us this afternoon. So, Meena, my first question to you is actually split into two parts. Since you have worked a lot in the social sector, you have an MBA in social entrepreneurship as well. Would you like to share with us some of the causes that you are passionate about? And the
Sure.
second divide is what motivates you to work in the social sector?
Sure. Thank you. It's really good question. I think I'm passionate to help
Meena, I
people.
can't see you.
You can't see me?
No.
1 minute. Oh, okay. I don't know how my. Okay.
Yeah, now I can see
Yeah,
you.
sure. Yeah. So basically, I'm passionate to help people, especially vulnerable women. And
Again, your video is off, Meena.
oh, so 1 minute. Just stop the
Yeah, sure.
recording. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how it stops.
So, Meena, my first question to you is split into two actually. That since you have worked a lot in social sector, you have an MBA in social entrepreneurship. Would you like to share with us some of the causes that you are passionate about? And the
Yeah.
second part is that what motivates you to work in the social sector altogether?
Sure. Thank you for this question. It's a very good question. I think I'm passionate to help people, especially vulnerable women and underprivileged children. I have suffered a lot in my life. I have been a victim of domestic violence, and I have seen my children also suffering. We've struggled and came out of our problems. Of course, it was not that easy and not possible without support from my family, some of the NGOs, and my friends. In India, there are still children and women who are in need. Children from rural, tribal, slum areas lack very basic needs like shelter, food, good health, quality education, mental health support, and even a space to play. That is not possible in some of the slum areas. We have visited some schools, and those schools did not have proper school buildings. Like children are sitting outside in the corridor and studying. We have seen that there is no digital education even today. No good teachers or no teachers sometimes. So one teacher is teaching two classes together. Okay. Most of them have fear of getting pass in difficult subjects like mathematics, science, and English. So this children's focus is passing in their examination than getting knowledge, and they have so much fear and they don't have external support. They fail in their exams and they never come back because they don't trust that they're going to get pass. And then they remain as unskilled workers. They never come back in the mainstream. So they are supposed to be the future of our country, and there are so many poor children who are getting drop out from school every year. So what about them? That keeps bothering me. So what I do, like Child Health Foundation, I work with Child Health Foundation. We reach out to such students, we help them from the school fees to the school books. We've helped some of the schools with digital education. mini science centers. We have provided them trained teachers so that they remove the fear from their mind about those subjects. We have also helped girls with sanitary pads because we have realized that when they get their periods, they don't go to school because they have fear of stains and other things, and then boys making fun. So we have also sensitized boys, girls on reproductive health. They are also like we work in ashram schools most of the time, and the small children like 6 years to 18 years they live there, so they are so vulnerable. They don't get proper care, love, because the family is not there. We don't know how many of them suffer depression, or even sexual abuse. There is no record. So I what I do is I network with the government to provide them more facilities. I network with the corporate sector companies to provide us fund to implement educational projects, health related projects, mental health related project for such children. I also raise individual funds whenever there is a requirement. We have emergency medical support program where we generate fund to support the medical treatment of some of the children who are in need. Otherwise, like their parents will see their child is dying, the this treatment is so expensive, especially cancer treatment and heart surgeries, or other surgeries are so expensive and people don't have money. So we come forward and we help such people. So that is my passion. I love to take care of them, I love to help them. Now if you look at even the workplaces, there are a lot of women who come from difficult background, poor background, and they suffer. They're vulnerable for getting sexually exploited. So I also want to help them. So these are the causes that I fight for, I work for.
Thank you, Meena, for sharing your personal experiences, for sharing your vulnerabilities here with us. Now, since you spoke about Child Health Foundation and your work in corporate sector as well, would you also like to tell us that how is your work with children different from working with employees?
Yes, sure. So I started working with children when I was with YWC, of course, women and children. And then when I came to Child Health Foundation, um, I started looking for the needs, the children have, and I decided to visit the rural schools, slum schools. I interacted with students, I interacted with teachers, I interacted with parents, and then I'm like, okay, how do I help these children? So we develop projects for them, projects in the sector of health, project to support their education. So that is how my journey began. I approached many companies. Many companies have supported us to set up mini science center. There is one trust called Samta Equal Footing Foundation, that is USA based trust, and they have assured us that yes, we will give you 10 mini science centers. So mini science centers help children with mathematics and science, so it helps them to clear difficult concepts, and then it is easy for them to pass their examination and also get the knowledge. Then with health, we've seen some of the schools where we visited, and there were suicidal cases, children committing suicide. So we wanted to get deep into it, why children are committing suicide, and we had a basic test, psychological test for them. We identify students with depression, and those who are having suicidal thoughts. So we've interacted with the teachers, we interacted with parents, we had a psychologist, a counselor coming there and counseling those students. And then we realize where is the problem. So mostly these children have problem from their homes. Either the parents want girls to get married soon when they are 13, 14, 15, and that just next our district, Mumbai, that is Palghar I'm talking about, Palghar, Nasik, Nagpur. A lot of child marriages. So people see girls as a burden, they just want them to go away. So child marriages, alcoholic parents, multiple marriages of parents, that also kind of make them depressed. So yeah, my journey started approaching them, motivating them, helping them, in all these sectors that they need: health, education, mental support. Yeah.
So, Meena, since you've been working heavily on POSH and that you are a senior consultant in POSH, what are your thoughts about women at workplace?
So women at workplace, basically the ratio of working women and men is very imbalanced. It's not equal ratio. So we find like 80% men and 15 to 20% women working. So less power, less group. And all these women don't work in one department. So they are distributed, you know. So it becomes very uncomfortable for them when they have to grow or when they have to put their thoughts, or they want to say something. It's very difficult. Plus, there is less unity among women than men, you know corporates are still not sensitized about the creating safe places for women. There is a law, but the law is not properly implemented in all the companies. Okay. I mean, I'm just talking about the organized sector. Unorganized sector, of course, we have to still work with them. We don't see the compliance happening there or awareness sessions happening there. So even in the organized sectors, there is no internal committee for the redressal of cases, or there is no policy, or people don't have information about the policy. Women don't have information about the rights, about this law. So they either tolerate or they give up. They tolerate when there is no other, other opportunity for them. Like for example, 70% of our India lives in rural areas, and you have less employment opportunities for them in rural areas, and there is huge poverty. So people want work, they want money. So when in such situation, when women work, they don't have options. So they have to either tolerate it and survive, or they give up. But giving up is not a good idea for them. I mean, they don't think it's a good idea for them. So because they are not aware of their rights, that they have right to complain, they have right to ask for a safe environment from their employer, so that is not in their head. Even in Mumbai, we have a lot of migrants who come from different states. They work here. They are also vulnerable, especially these young girls just passing out their graduation and working. They don't have power. There are a lot of influential people at workplace, so they work under the burden. People don't take sexual harassment seriously. It's still like fun for them, staring at somebody, whistling at somebody. People don't think it's a sexual harassment. Sexual harassment for them is just physical harassment. So that they don't consider that there is verbal harassment, non-verbal harassment, So people are not really sensitized, and that creates problems for women. Okay. um, Also, one more thing, that some of the men have misunderstanding that this law is for women and they will misuse it. Well, in some of these states or some places, we have seen that women have misused the law. If you ask me, this law is underutilized because many women don't report, but women who want to take advantage of this law, either for money or promotion or for personal revenge, and they have put false complaints. So that fear is still there among men and among employer. So how does it happen? It happens when they get proper knowledge, when they get awareness about it. Definitely, we tell them that if a woman files a false complaint, she will be punished. She will have to face consequences, which is there in the law, but people are not aware of it. Okay. In government, mechanism is not developed so far. Like how many local committees are effective? They're not. So government itself is not implementing this law. So how they could be serious about companies, because companies are supposed to report to the government about this compliance. So the
Yeah.
first, I think, yeah, should I go ahead or?
No, actually, you are actually speaking on the right points. That this brings me to my next question.
Okay.
That policy for women is one thing, but what do you think for the policy to become in practice, especially in government organization that you were speaking about?
Yeah, I think it should be top bottom approach as well as bottom top approach. It works well when the management is serious about it. They have proper clauses in the policy, proper approach, and it is communicated to the people, and people also have their suggestions to the management. It works fantastically like this. I think the top bottom approach in government sector works. So I think they have to get first doing it, implementing it first. Second, the policy is there sometimes in all the sectors, private as well as government, but people are not aware of it. It works well when a manager or HOD or person in charge, have special training programs to explain policy to employees, and employees know the policy and they give consent. Yes, I have read the policy and I've understood it. So that consent from employees have to be taken by the HODs, managers, or superiors. The information has to share with employees, like the act says that display proper messages for your employees and outsiders. So those messages are not displayed. Plus, when they address cases, sexual harassment cases, I think they should go according to their policy, but sometimes the decisions are partial, because it could be because of the influence or the position of a person. Cases are not taken seriously, they've done very casually. That's again a problem. And safe culture is not maintained. So the policy talks should talk about what is safe culture, you know, and that has to be maintained by lines of managers as well as employees. And there has to be an accountability. There have to be benchmarks set in government organization as well as private organization. Otherwise, the policy is not going to be effective.
Thank you so much, Meena, for enlightening us on policy and on POSH as well of what's to be done in government organization as well as in private organizations. I think this will be of great help to a lot of people out there watching this. So, Meena, my next question to you is actually split into two. Firstly,
Mhm.
what were the initial challenges that you faced while working on POSH? And second, what are the challenges that you now face with new companies while implementing POSH?
Sure. So I started working on POSH since 2010 when I was working with YWCA. Since it is a women's organization, women led organization,
Yeah.
there are a lot of complaints used to come to us, and then we started approaching companies, but at that time there was not much greater response at that time,
Mm,
so
mm,
I think we didn't get positive response from companies. The POSH Act was actually introduced in 2013, you know,
yeah.
but in 2013, one multinational company, invited me for the redressal of their case. So at that time, people
Okay.
were not really thinking about awareness. Their focus is case hai, there will be punishment, so better get it deal as soon as possible.
Okay. Mm,
Most of the companies were not aware of this act for many years.
mm, mm,
Even today, like, some of the companies have asked me that we have never filed our annual returns, so what will be the implication of that?
mm,
So these are the questions that are coming up now.
mm,
um, they also thought it is for a big companies. So I had to tell them that it is not only for big companies but even applicable for small companies. Those companies who have more than 10 employees,
mm,
must comply with it, and they must have the internal committee.
Mm.
The committees that have 9 employees or less than
Okay.
10 employees, they don't need to have internal committee, but they still need to have policy awareness sessions, those things, and they need to file annual returns. So that is the requirement. Then I think people were also not aware that this law is also for domestic workers and people from unorganized sector. So that awareness is still not there. Company had no clarity about how the internal committee should be, who should be on the committee, is it only for women, so is it constituted only with women, not having men on the committee, uh, and who should be the presiding officer, so I mean, there used to be a lot of confusion about the committees. So we had to train them, saying that the committees, yes, sure, the committee, sorry, the committee has to be constituted, having equal participation of men as well as women. So that was there. Then they were not aware of who should be the external member, either a lawyer or a social worker, so
Yes.
that
Mm.
confusion was there, and how much will do we have to pay them, you know
Yes.
um so they also felt that posh training, posh awareness sessions are not welcome because it is a business platform and people will feel awkward. Management won't approve it. So even those kind of problems we face, challenges we face when we approach companies for awareness session. They also, and when we started doing awareness session, some of the men were quite curious. They were not happy that this law is for women. So they had a question, why only for women? Why not for men?
Yeah.
You know? So
Why not
then,
inclusive of all the genders?
yes, all the gender. Yes. So that's right. So other genders have not raised this question, but men have raised this question, And then we had to tell them that the objective of this law is providing protection. Why there is law for women? Because the quantum number of cases are high, I mean, women victims are higher than male victims. Also that looking at the unsafe environment in the society, like there was a Nirbhaya Hatyakand, Nirbhaya
Yes.
case, and
Yes.
people have seen violence, rape happening to women, and that was a sensitive topic at that time. And internationally there was a force on India, like why there is no law for women, why women are not
Absolutely.
protected. So we had to tell them the reason, and then we have to tell them that it is not against men. So if a woman files a false complaint, she will be also punished. So there are a lot of, and we have to tell them that the committee constitute of men as well as women, so there is no partiality, and there is an external member on the committee. So it is not partial, and it's very difficult to misuse this law. Even if somebody is trying to misuse it, it's going to be very clear because the internal committee is handling it, with the external member support, and they are answerable if there is a partiality or they don't handle it properly. The court can raise question if there is a lawsuit against them, or the government can raise a question. So committee will not do any bias or injustice to people, so those kind of things we have to tell them. Also basically IT, one of the IT professional who was a female, she told me that she has never faced any kind of sexual harassment. So why are we only talking about women, 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 you know so just because she never felt doesn't mean that 90%, 99% women don't face it. We do face,
Exactly.
some point of time in our life, maybe not at workplace, somewhere else. So I don't know why she said that. Maybe she has not faced it, she was quite young, but the fact is many of the women face it, and it was very difficult for them, to convince them that this act is for your company, for your employees. It
Mm.
will help you, and it will help to create safe places for everybody in the committee
Mm.
company. So that is what I think, Those are the challenges that I face.
So,
And yeah,
yes, go ahead, Meena.
yeah. So you ask about the new companies, right?
Yes.
What are the, so I think they start posh activities little late, but because they want to settle down first, and it is kind of a monetary or extra financial burden on them. So first
Mm.
they are in a hurry to settle down in their business,
Yes.
and then they think about posh, and they also feel that okay, we are new company, so we don't have to comply with it. But the reality is that they have to comply with it. If they have whether less than 9 employees or more than 10 employees, they still have to comply with the law. They also need proper guidance, expert guidance on drafting policy, formation of IC, and hand holding them for the redressal of sexual harassment cases. I think, if you ask me, I think when companies start, creating safe places or zero tolerance to sexual harassment should be a part of its conception. You don't start late. The early you start it, it's better for you. You will have good strategies for preventing sexual harassment, good practices. You will set up a benchmark soon. You will have good culture at workplace. So I think this is what very important.
Yes. Yes.
Also, they now what they feel is, as I said, it's an extra financial burden on them.
Mm.
um, but they have to understand that if they spend little amount, on prevention, then the redressal will be small. For example, some of the companies
Okay.
don't want to spend on awareness sessions or other things,
Yes.
and then they keep getting sexual harassment cases,
Mm.
and they pay double.
Yes.
you know Plus, if they don't comply, there is a government monetary penalty also on
Yes.
them. So they will end up paying higher. So better they start from awareness, educating people. That's going to help them. Some of these new companies have e-learning model. There is nothing
Yes.
against e-learning, but it's a one way communication. Like, I have problem when I have virtual training sessions. I don't know how many of them are really there. They just log in and they're not there. So we
Yes.
don't know whether they are there, they are not there. Nobody's interested.
Mm.
What is effective is only physical classes, classroom learning. So imagine e-learning, people are not going to really pay attention. I mean, there's no guarantee. And what if they have questions, queries, that won't be dealt with.
Mm.
They have tests, at the end, but the answers are also available on Google.
Yes.
So I mean, no guarantee. So having classroom training at least once in a year
Mm.
is going to help them. um yeah, so it's very important for them to focus on prevention than focusing on redressal. That is what the message I would like to give it to
Yes.
the new companies.
Thank you, Meena. So,
Yeah.
since you have such extensive corporate experience, according to your professional expertise, what do you think how corporate India is fast or adaptive in terms of POSH? So, I think we spoke about new companies. Now, what do you think about the existing or the established companies? That when POSH came, how did they react to that? And are the practices still the same? Are they still compliant? And how does the readdressal system work in their big organizations? So what is your
Hmm.
take on that?
So I see the change over last 9 years. It is not 100%, but 70 to 80% change in metro cities. I'm not aware about the rural areas or other states, but metro cities, yes, I see that there is awareness. People are talking about this law. People are quick to comply with it. Thanks to media, all the experts in this field. Um, Even new companies are approaching and asking, advice from me. There was a research done by Forbes in 2020, 2021, I guess. or recent, sorry, 2022, it says that the analysis of data indicates a reduce of number of complaint received by government owned complaining like private peers in comparison. Among 14 PSU companies in the BSC 100, 12 reported complaints, mostly with one or two cases. Among PSUs, the State Bank of India, with 43 complaints, has the highest number of reported cases in financial year 2022. However, that's a decline from 45 in the previous year. So we see in PSUs, especially in SBI, the cases have reduced. But 45 cases last year, this year, 43 cases this year, and last year there were 45 cases. Next among PSU is Bank of Baroda, which reported 25 cases in financial year 2022 compared to 16 last year. Indian Oil Corporation 9 in financial year 2002, than 4 in the last year. So you see that the cases are increasing, the reporting is increasing. Okay. HDFC Bank, if you look at the financial institute, last year they had 47 cases. And sorry, yeah, this year they have 51 cases. ICICI Bank last year 33 cases, this year 46 cases. So we have corporate, having 50 cases. And we see the number has rise, it has not reduced. Some of the companies where I am working as an external member, or those companies who are associated with me, I see the compliance. Like if you look at Taj Hotels in Mumbai, especially Taj Mahal Palace, they have regular every month awareness session. Likewise, Bajaj Consumer Care, they made sure that they train all their employees. FSG India, ITPSC, Taj Air, Keto, and there are a lot of such companies that are making efforts to not only to comply but to create safe places at workplace.
Hmm.
So this is what I would say, that I have seen the change. It's changing, but it's not 100% change.
Yes. All right, Meena, I think thank you so much for sharing that logistics with us, the real report that's out there, and thank you for painting this picture.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, since you're also a senior consultant in CSR, that's corporate social responsibility, and you're working with children, you're working with different companies and organizations, what are the strategy or approaches that you use as a trainer, as a leader, and as a consultant when you're working with different clients and organizations?
So, as a trainer and as a leader, okay, basically, I want to first sensitize them. So, when I approach a company, I do tell them about the law, and I say, this is what the law says. So, the first thing is sensitizing them. There is always a question why the law is not for men and only for women. The second question is, do you think only women are sexually harassed, not men? So, giving them answers for their queries is very important, and how you handle them. I tell them the very purpose of act is to safeguard women, is to protect them from sexual harassment. This act is not for anything else but to support women and provide safe workplaces for women. So I tell them about them. I tell them about behavior change, that the responsibility of top management is to make sure that people have appropriate behavior, and they respect employees. They do not look at gender, caste, creed, but they look at them as employees and give equal opportunities to all the genders, three genders, and also people from LGBT community. I advise them for zero tolerance policy, and I advocate it. Zero tolerance, that means it should not be tolerated even single time. If it is done by anybody, like senior person, junior person, anybody, it should not be tolerated. And zero tolerance policy also means no man should harass a woman, no woman should harass a man, no man should harass a man, or no woman should harass a woman, you know. So they have to be very clear, because now third gender is going to come, you know, um, transgender. So how will people respect them if they don't respect women, you know? Plus sensitizing them about LGBT plus community. There are a lot of children, you know, youth working in corporate sector, in companies, you know, they have different sexuality, so they face different kinds of harassment. So sensitizing them on that issue. I also tell them that treat sexual harassment as misconduct, you know, and give them proper punishment. Then only people will understand it. So first I sensitize the managers, HODs, you know, then I sensitize the internal committee, and then I conduct awareness sessions for employees. So that is the strategy I use when I approach the companies. Yeah.
All right, this sounds really wonderful to me that you start with an action plan that's really implementable. So, what are some of the challenges that you face as a CSR consultant? And then, what guidance would you give to somebody who wishes to pursue a career in CSR sector?
Yeah, good question again. So, working in CSR tech sector is not easy. It's very tough. So, you have marketing or sales in the corporate. It is similar, but we do it for the social cause. Okay, there is huge competition because there are so many number of NGOs today, and everybody wants CSR funds. You know, everybody wants fund. We have mixture of NGOs, old NGOs, new NGOs, settled NGOs, you know, upcoming NGOs. So in that competition, how do you keep yourself intact, you know, updated with the information, having proper skills, you know, to reach out to the corporates, to the donors, explaining them the cause. It's not only that, but it is also convincing them, negotiating with them, because they're corporate, they are not from social sector. And NGOs don't work like a social sector because we work with communities, and it's very difficult to forecast some of the things, you know. Changing the behavior of the community, implementing community program is not easy, and corporate have their own expectations, right? So matching to their expectation and negotiating with them, that yes, this can happen, but this may happen in this way, that is important, you know. Excellent communication skills, we need that, because somebody is giving their money to us without getting anything. Like you go to shop, you give money and you get product, you know, so you know that you have something. Here people are giving you money, but they actually don't have anything. So inspiring and motivating them to give when they don't get anything is quite difficult. So that excellent communication skill, where you are able to tell the needs from the community, and you are able to convey the corporate sector or the donors, saying that how it will benefit them, how it will benefit, you know, their brand, kind of reputation they will get, kind of marketplace they will get, you know, kind of recognition they will get. So that skills we need to have. Plus I think we have to be very transparent with money, proper reports to be given, financial audited statements to be given, and everything has to be communicated with them. I think that is also very important. um, uh, Proper accountability and transparency, the way we handle money, the way we manage our funds, you know, different books of accounts, how we use digital mechanism, you know, for transparency and for communication, that is important. Plus in the NGO sector, you may not get a very good salary, you know. For people who want to come in the CSR sector, don't expect a good salary like you would expect in the corporate sector. Again, this is not profit making organization, but yes, we have, like, it is rising up. People are understanding the need of paying well to your employees, otherwise you won't have good employees, right? So yeah, slowly, gradually, when you have established yourself, you get a very good salary. And now we have international agencies, international organization, government organization. So once you set up in this area, once you prove yourself, of course you're going to have a good career in this sector. One more thing that is difficult for NGO sector is corporate don't want to pay the admin charges. Okay, now what are the admin charges? So they want to give a project cost. Okay, this is the project you want to implement. For example, I have a health related project and I want to have a doctor, nurse, pharmacist in my team, and they go to schools and they do health checkup camps, provide medicine. So they are happy to pay the doctors, the staff, the medicines. But they're not really happy to pay for my office rent or my electricity bill or the different support system I have, like support staff, my HR, my digital team. So the question is that when they give less admin cost, it becomes very difficult for NGOs to hire good people in this sector. So if you don't have HR department, how will you get good people? How will you set up policies and systems? If you don't have a digital team, now everything is digitally done, right? Your PR, your website. So if you don't have a good digital team, how will you reach out to different people? So, and also the corporate want mileage. They want their logo to be display on websites, or many people to know about their donation, about the project. So how would we do if we don't have a digital team? So I think these are some of the challenges that we face. So it's a time for them also to understand the different needs that NGO have, and for NGOs also to understand how they can cut their cost and work efficiently.
Great, Meena. Thank you so much for elaborating these challenges of CSR really well. I'm sure it will be of great use and help to a lot of people out there. Lastly, Meena, what is your message to the employers and leaders of the future?
Okay. So I think it's important to give back to the society and help needy people. Don't always think about yourself. Your little support can bring a major changes in people's life. Do not harass women or anybody else, children, women, or anybody else. Respect people. Do not tolerate harassment. If it is happening to you or happening to anybody else, it's your social responsibility to take action on it. Okay, and fight for justice. Don't give up. So that is my message to people here.
Thank you so much, Meena. It was an absolute delight talking to you and listening to your wonderful insights and teachings. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Shailaja, for this time.
Love you.